Hi, my name is Dale Adams of Planning Ahead of Time, and on this week's Pat Chat, I'm speaking with Kerry. Kerry has a company called Theta Jewellery, and would you like to tell us about it?
Hi Dale, thank you. Yes, I'm Kerry, and what I do at Theta Jewellery is I create hand stamped jewellery, predominantly cremation jewellery. Now, the reason I got into this was I've always been quite an empathetic person. I always want to share joy, share kindness, share empathy, and bring light into life and things like that. So, this jewellery, creating this jewellery, I wanted to offer something that brings light and joy into grief. Um, it's not just jewellery, it's a way to keep somebody close, keep them tangible in a loving way. So, the way I see it is that if you can just have a little something, I keep touching my necklace because this is one of my cremation necklaces.
Wow.
It's one of the heart urns with a little feather and a tag with an initial on it. Um, Now, the reason I do this is because it's quite a personal thing. The person, only the person knows what's in the necklace. To anybody else, it could look just like another piece of lovely jewelry. But there is something very special about it. It can help people just ground themselves, just remember that person without anybody else knowing. They don't have to make a big, they don't have to go someplace. They don't have to drive to a crematorium or, drive to anywhere. They can just be at home in a quiet moment, having a cup of tea, remembering that person and have something tangible. It also, if you sort of catch yourself in the mirror wearing a piece of jewelry, or I also do like key rings and things like that. So you've just got them in your hand and it just gives you that little bit of memory every so often.
Yeah. So you've got,
Excuse me.
so your jewellery, you put cremation ashes in it. Do you do that?
I don't put the ashes in just out of respect because I don't want to have to post ashes through, the Royal Mail or anything like that. There'll just be more heartache for the person if Royal Mail lost them. So I just provide the jewellery. So I talk to the client. I have, obviously on my website, I have lots of pieces made up to show roughly what it is.
Yes.
But that's the joy of what I do. It's personal. So someone might say, well, I like that, but I don't like that, that, and that. I can put initials on it. If you have a piece with a larger heart, I could put a name on it. There might be like a phrase that the person always said, so, they're always saying that. And I can create a piece of jewelry or, as I say, a key ring, a bracelet, something like that, that will be really super personal because you won't ever find another piece like it. It will be very, very personal to you and the person that you're remembering. So special names, special phrases, that sort of thing. And it's making a memory physical. That's what I think I like about it. Is it's something that sparks off. Yes, it probably will spark off obviously sad tears at the beginning, but eventually they're loving tears, they're remembrance. They might not even be tears, but it just gives you something in longevity, I suppose,
Yeah.
that will last. So yeah, it's a beautiful piece to wear and have.
Yeah. So can we just have a look? Because I think you've got, obviously you're wearing your heart
Yes,
necklace, but you've
this,
got
yeah.
a key ring that you showed me earlier. Can you show that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. This one I've made for me because I like quite chunky jewelry.
Yeah.
So I've got a much bigger heart and I've got a bigger chain, but I also do like fine chains and smaller hearts.
Yeah.
And then something like a key ring, it would be like this. Oh, sorry, let me just get that. Can you see that? So
So this
this
is
here
where you could
is
put
the urn.
something around the outside of the circle. You could write a phrase.
Yes, exactly. So something like this. This will go on a pendant as well. So you could have it on a pendant.
Yeah.
Can you see there?
Yeah. And then
So
you
this is
could put
one
a
of the
name on
chunkier
the
urns.
heart, for example.
Yes. The actual urn doesn't get stamped on because it could impede the integrity of it because it is metal. And obviously, when you stamp a letter, it thins out the metal. So we don't stamp on the, I don't stamp on the heart, but I will stamp on like the discs or another little heart attached to it.
Okay, yeah, we can see
Yeah.
that. Thank you for showing that.
No, that's fine. And you'll see there's the little screw there. Just
Okay,
see a little tiny screw.
so
And
that's
that's
how
all
you
you do.
put the ashes in.
Yes. Yeah.
So could you put something else in there? For example, my dog died and I had some of her fur. I
Mhm.
felt it was more relevant to me. I have my mum's ashes, but I have my dog's fur. So
Yeah.
do you think you could put fur or something else into there?
Yeah, absolutely. You can put fur. The what you would do is just get a needle or a pin and just twizzle it round, so it made it into like a tighter ball, and then you could poke it in the hole, no problem at all. I also do paw charms and animal charms. So that's a lot of people have cremation jewelry or remembrance jewelry for their animals too, which I love.
Okay.
Being an
So
animal
when you
person.
say pour jewelry, it's not an urn. It's jewelry that just it contains the print. Is that right?
It's an urn, but it's like a paw print charm. So
Oh,
it reminds you it's a dog or a cat or something like that. I have horseshoes. So it's like the charm tells the story, and then the urn remains intact. There's no writing on the urn, there's no anything. It always stays pristine, containing the ashes or the fur. You could even probably write a small note and roll it up like a message in a bottle. You could
yeah.
probably even do that because they're quite good receptacles. So yeah, you could probably do that as well.
So for example, then, just so I'm being clear on this,
Mhm.
so I could pick a keyring, I could put on a heart urn, and then I could say, for example, feathers are very relevant to
Yeah,
me. And then I can pick the charms or whether it was a paw. So if I put some of my dog's fur in the heart urn, I
yeah,
could then have a feather and a paw print or something as
yeah,
charms that go onto the keyring. And so I can bespokely build what I wanted you to create.
absolutely.
And then you
Yeah,
can
and
put
that's
their
the joy.
names, the dog's name sort of on the outer area.
Yeah, I've just done one exactly that. 3 dogs, and I had the dogs' names going round in the ring, and then she had 3 hearts, obviously for the 3 dogs. So yeah, I've actually just done one of those. That's just gone off last week, actually.
Right.
Um,
So,
the the good thing about this is the joy of this is that it can be so personal, because if you went to a shop and bought a remembrance piece, a remembrance, even jewelry, so many other people would have the same thing. And like you say, you could have something, feathers mean something to you. I also have birthstones. So for someone, I could have their birthstone on it. I have pearls, all sorts of things that, and even if I haven't got it, if there's something that you want, I will find it, I will source it, because I want it to be so special and so yours,
yeah.
um, that, we'll go that extra mile to make sure it is totally perfect.
That's lovely. I mean, I love the idea of it. Obviously, when I met you and we spoke about it, I was like, "Oh, please come on and do a patch chat with me and talk about what you're doing." Because yes, you're right. There are different people doing different things in relation to
Yeah.
jewelry and any type of keepsakes, which is lovely. But I did like the fact that you were very much personalizing it and making it unique for that person. So I really like the idea of that. So when you just said that you sent one out recently, I mean, roughly, and obviously there is always going to be a variation on pricing, but if somebody was to buy a necklace very similar to the one that you have, or even the keyring, roughly, what's that likely to cost them?
But the necklace is this sort of necklace, with an urn, a chain, and a charm. Starts at 39.95.
Okay. Yeah.
They go up from there, so you can swap out from a silver to a silver chain. We use stainless steel. It's really hard wearing for that reason. The urns are always stainless steel because they're hard wearing and we don't want anything to happen to them. The chains and the charms, I also use high grade stainless steel. because they don't rust, they don't tarnish. As long as you look after them, you can shower in them if you want to. I would suggest, if you wanted to shower in them, that you just use a tiny bit of super glue on the thread of the screw, just to make sure it's completely watertight. But other than that, they'll last you forever, and they'll be, in your life and helping you remember that person forever. Because grief, they say like 7 stages of grief, is it? But grief isn't linear. Not everyone does those things in order. It's not a test. It's not something that you have to do and pass and then you're fine. People are doing it all different ways, and even grieving for the same person, 2 members of the same family will grieve differently for that person. And some people just want to have them near and have them special in their memory, but not, they don't necessarily want big things in their house, or, shrines in their house, which some people like, some people don't. But this is just so personal, and only you know what it is, and only you know about that person.
I think everything you say, I completely agree with. Grief is universal but unique, completely. And I know people who absolutely wouldn't have any ashes in any jewelry, and other people, that's all they wanted. They've got rings and necklaces and bracelets and everything. So, it's so unique. And the way we grieve, when I said to people that I cut my dog's fur and I have their fur, some people found that a little bit odd. It was, oh, didn't you just get their ashes? And I said, no, I didn't want their ashes. I wanted their fur. I wanted something that I could touch and feel, and it was still to do with them. Hence my question in relation to mine. And I think, £40 upwards is actually good. Jewelry generally costs more than that, so to actually have something so personalized, and like you say, where you can keep them, and like you say, you automatically do, don't you, just sort of touch things that relate to them. So I think that's lovely. With regards to the key rings then, where would they maybe start from a cost perspective?
Again, depending on what you have, something like this would start at £29.95.
Yeah.
And then it depended on if you added any more things, they would just go from there. But a basic key ring with the couple of little charms you see there with the stamping of the initial,
yes,
it would start £29.95.
Okay. Well, again, I think that's very reasonable for somebody to have something so personal that they can keep with them, and that obviously contains part of their person, in whatever that's animals or people, etc. I think it's a lovely idea. And what I also really like, Kerry, is you and your reason behind it, the way that you are with what you're doing, because it really does feel that it's very sort of heart-led. And I think that's from your own experiences, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very heart-led, and I'm very respectful. When I make the jewelry, obviously I don't handle the ashes, as I say, but when I make the jewelry, I'm in a very calm space. Theta is very much based around theta healing, and the energy that you put into something, the vibrations. Jewelry holds vibrations, so I make sure that I'm in a really nice space. I've had a calm day. So when I'm making it, there's no any of my agitation going into it. So I'm very respectful of that, because I want that piece to be a piece of love and not hold any strange vibrations that he doesn't need. So when the person gets it, they're putting their own vibrations into it, and it's not clouded by mine. So I'm very respectful of that when I make it respectfully, I treat it respectfully, and it's packaged beautifully, and I make sure that it goes off with a great load of love, because I think it's really important.
It's very important. It's very important how we actually put ourselves into what we're doing. Because it does make a difference in anything. Everything around us carries energy, and it can pick that up, negative or positive. So as I say, I think the way you are, and obviously I've met you multiple times, and I just think that is so there is so much love and joy and positivity that comes from you. And so with everything you're doing, it's very obvious to me. And this is why, in a way, I'm hoping that I get that cross in the patch up, that actually that is the way you would be and what you're trying to put out into the world.
Yeah, it very much so. I'm very much based in joy, kindness, connection. I have a word of the year. Every year I pick a word, and my word this year is connection. And I think it just ties in beautifully with what I do with the jewellery, the cremation jewellery. I do other pieces as well, and I also make bespoke cards, which I know you know about as well. So everything I do with the baseline is spreading joy and happiness and kindness and love and connection, and that's behind all of everything that I do, regardless of what it might be.
Well, I know today, because of the fact that I work with dying, death, loss and grief, and try and allow people to know what's available to them out there. So I appreciate we have been talking specifically about items that are keepsakes and memories for people through cremation, ashes or fur or whatever they want to pop in, little messages. I also like that idea. What other jewelry do you offer then? Let's just give you the chance to.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, no, that's fine. The cremation jewelry is so important because not a lot of people know that it exists. Or they think it has to be set in resin, or
Yes.
that's very popular at the moment, and that's fine. But so yeah, no, I'm really grateful for the cremation jewelry because it is so important. But yes, as part of Theta Jewellery, I do other things as well. So I make all sorts of things, bracelets, necklaces. But again, I have pieces that I put on the website to show my work. But the pure joy of Theta Jewellery is that everything I make is personal because I hand stamp everything. It's slightly quirky. It's not perfect because it's not made by machine, but it is done very, very well because I won't send it out if I'm not happy with it. If I wouldn't pay money for it, it doesn't go out the door. But it is slightly quirky because obviously I'm stamping it by hand. But I get to stamp so many wonderful things because people ask me for phrases or names or what's personal to them, and I get to learn about a little bit about the customer as well when they're asking me for strange phrases on things. And it's just like, what's that then? And it's like, that's what we say in my family, or that's what we call my dad, or and I think that's the joy for people when for example, one of my friends calls their grandma Grandy. I think it's quite a northern, like Yorkshire thing. And he got a card from me actually because he couldn't find one with Grandy on it. Now, if you want a piece of jewellery to send to your dad, or even a remembrance piece of jewellery, and you call them something different like Popsy or Grandy, or where are you going to find anything like that, So that's the joy for me, is that I get to learn a little bit about my customer, but I can also offer them exactly what they want and nobody else has got it.
And I love the fact that you've just brought it up, that you hand stamp everything, because I asked you that question before we went on and then forgot to ask you again, because other than that, you can think that people think, well, you buy the discs in with an initial on or something, and actually you do it all yourself, don't you? So everything
I
is
sit here,
handmade.
yes, with my very large hammer and my big metal plate, and I hand stamp everything. And it just, on the back of what I just said about nothing goes out unless it's perfect, this is my tray of errors that I wasn't happy with.
There's a few there.
So you can see there's quite a few, because I won't send anything out unless I'm 100% happy with it. They do get reused, so it's not a waste. I will use them in something else, either in like a mixed media something, so they don't go to waste, or I file them out and use them for something else. But yeah, it's all hand stamped painstakingly by me.
Lovely. Well, it definitely adds even more value to what I think is already a good price point of the products that you're selling. So, Kerry, if anybody would like to have a look at your website, buy some jewelry from you, contact you, how do they do that?
Yeah, my website is www.thetajewellery.co.uk. Theta is Theta, Or I'd love to, if you email me, if there's something that you want that you can't see on the website, that's inquiries@thetajewellery.co.uk. And just tell me what you would like, and I will make it happen.
That's lovely. It's brilliant. And it's been really nice to speak with you. So thanks very much for doing a chat with me today.
Thank you for having me, Dale. It's been really lovely. Thank you.